Welcome to the Outside the Box Income and Investing Podcast. Whether you're looking to start a business, earn passive income, invest in stocks or crypto, or just want to learn something from business owners, entrepreneurs, and investors, the Outside the Box Podcast has you covered. This podcast does not provide specific financial, legal, or medical advice to any listener. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, here's your host, R. Brandon Smith.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Outside the Box Income and Investing Podcast. My name is Brandon, and I am your host. As you can see, if you're watching the video podcast, I have an updated camera and my friend, the Lord of Death, here with me today. So if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Google Podcasts, please subscribe so you do not miss out on any new episodes. I'm sorry there was a hiatus for a bit. I had law school finals and a few other things to do, but back at it now. Going to keep trying to make weekly episodes, and let's get right into it. Today's topic is time is your most valuable asset. Now, I've talked about standards. I've talked about why money matters. I've talked about a few other things previously, but most importantly, you have to understand that time is your most valuable asset. And if you're consistently trading time for money in a way that doesn't value you, you're going to burn out. You're going to hate your life, and people around you aren't going to like you either. Now, you're raised through school, K through 12, to go to school, trade your time for an education. If you went to a private school, you paid for that time as well, or your family did. Then you either go into the workforce where you're just learning knowledge and trading time for money, or you go into school where you pay now exorbitant amounts of money for knowledge to lose time to learn how to be basically a better employee. This model is not sustainable and it's going to die. But you have to realize right now how unsustainable it is and how you're doing a disservice to yourself by letting someone else not value your time. And you have to, most importantly, determine your own worth and your own rate to see what's worth your time. You could die tomorrow. You could get hit by a truck. You could have a bad diagnosis. And ideally, wherever you are right now, whatever you're working on or whatever you're around or whoever you're around, you want to leave that environment, that person, whatever it is, better than when you arrived in that situation. An example is most people want to leave the earth better than they found it. That's why people are pushing for climate change and things along those lines. Again, it's up to you. You could be like, hey, fuck everybody, I don't care. That's totally okay as long as you're honest with yourself and that's who you are. That's cool. It's accepted as long as you know that's who you are and you're completely honest. Honesty is always going to earn respect more than lying. But to my main point on why time matters, you need to value your time, whether it's your education, whether it's a trade, whether it's a skill, whatever it is, you need to value it appropriately. Because if you continue to go to work for somebody who, is paying you much less than what you're valued, much less than your colleagues, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to get pissed off. You're going to get resentful. You also need to create a system that works for you. And I've said this multiple times that if a system does not work for you or it does not support you, you need to create your own system. That's essentially what I did, how I made lots of money online, creating online courses. I've also done things through investing, but you really want to be in control of your own income. And the best way to do that is to create a system that works for you. For most people, that's going to be building an online business or a business of some sort, an in-person business. Just with COVID, depending on your state, may not be as feasible. So I would say the future of the economy is actually online businesses, even moving into the metaverse. Now, we'll take my story, for example, why this is important to me. I lost both my parents before I was 19 years old. My mom died suddenly of a pulmonary embolism. A few days prior, we had a great time on her birthday, and then she was dead. And that was fucked up. A year prior to that, my dad died. There was lots of death within a period of time, and that fucked me up at a young age. But basically, honestly, as a young male over 18, nobody gave a fuck. And so I had to do lots of things myself. People are like, oh, you're so lucky. You must have had, support. No, motherfucker. I did most of my things that I've accomplished myself. I've accomplished more since being with my wife now. I've actually got married over break as well. But being with her, I've actually accomplished more. But that's because she supports me. She understands my goals. And that's another thing too, is you want to have a partner that understands you. But that all being said, you have to be self-driven and motivated. Now, granted, I did have some, life insurance money because I lost both my parents, and thank God they set that up. But honestly, going through school and everything like that, I wasn't able to, live off that forever, obviously, and obviously it didn't cover the cost of grad school. And I grew up basically, even though my dad was a well-off surgeon, what happened with him is my stepmom took most of his life insurance money when he actually died, and then she died later. But by the time my brothers and I, my stepbrothers and I got actual life insurance money, it was way less than what it could have been because my stepmom spent a lot of it very, very quickly on stupid shit. And then my mom, she grew up basically a single mother. I grew up on free lunch. So it was like, there was some life insurance money there, but it really wasn't much to live off of for more than a few years. People were like, oh, you're so lucky you could do that. Yeah, motherfucker, I lost both my parents, which was the only reason I was able to do that and put myself through at least undergrad before I had to take out loans. And I worked through undergrad, I worked through PT school. I've worked a lot and been through a lot and seen a lot of fucked up things and dealt with a lot of fucked up things. And, that's kind of like, there's a few times there where, went through like a drug phase and a few other things, but realistically, I got to where I am today now with my multiple graduate degrees. Law school is fucking pissing me off, but that's because they're trying to teach me how to be more of an employee. And I'm just like, motherfucker, this is for my consulting business and, be a healthcare attorney, at my own firm or grow my own firm. But, that's just the way school is. It's trading your time for money. You have to kind of play the game until you don't have to play it anymore. That's kind of what happened with me with PT is I played the game for 3 years and then was like, hey, I can do other things. And I still like doing cash pay PT because it's, your own business. You can create your own value. You can be like, hey man, I charge $150 an hour, right? Where insurance is like, oh, 4 units is $30, man. Fuck insurance, fuck that. I know this is kind of going all over the place, but back to the main point is that you need to value your time and you need to be driven. And if you're not driven and you're not valuing your time, then nobody's responsible but you. And a lot of you are like, hey, I want to make 40K in a week like you did. Hey, I want to start an online course like you did. Then fucking just start doing it. A lot of you are like, oh, well, I need it to be 32 degrees on a Tuesday and it needs to be sunny and there needs to be, a beaver that walks across my yard that day. And that's when I will start my business. That's not going to happen. Speed is always going to win. So if you're thinking about starting a business, just start. I started putting out content years ago. And yeah, people are getting mad at you. People are going to hate you. I get messages all the time to say, hey, fuck you. Hey, get out of PT. I get this shit all the time. And it's just because I'm doing better than they are. And people don't criticize anyone doing worse than them, right? So you have to realize people that are criticizing you if you become successful, it's because they don't want you to be better than they are, or they feel that you're better than they are and they're threatened. Again, there's a few things that I've heard ideas, that are illegal, whatever. Consult with an attorney in your state if you think about doing something illegal or you have questions. Ask me a question or send me a message. But realistically, the whole point of this podcast and the point of this message today is that you need to value your time. You need to start a business. You need to start things that are going to make your time valuable. Nobody else is going to get that for you. And until you understand that, nothing's really going to change. You have to understand first that your time is valuable. You have to figure out how to value your time, figure out what you want to do, implement that. And then once you have that figured out, move forward. If you're like, hey man, I can make $100 an hour doing whatever that's not even clinically related, if you're a clinician or whatever you're doing now, and you realize you can make 3 times as much as your job, well then, try it out. And then you might be able to quit your shitty job, but you need to take that step first. And until you start to value time more than money and realize that money is a tool, it's not really anything but a tool to create what you want and do more good, more evil, depending on what side of the spectrum you fall on. But the most important thing is time, and you build your life around your time. You build your lifestyle around valuing your time with your family, your time with loved ones. Nothing is going to change. And I just wanted to make this today because I want you guys to realize that you need to value that time. And then without that time, you could die tomorrow and be like, oh, wow, he worked all the time. He didn't give a fuck about me. Maybe you have a kid who's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck my mom. Fuck my dad. They never spent time with me. So just something to consider. I know it's kind of a dark note to end on and kind of a weird tangent I went off on here. But if you want to learn more, join the Discord community. You can send me an email at brandon@outsidetheboxincomeandinvesting.com. or drsmithdpt@gmail.com, or just message me on Instagram, whatever. That all being said, I am doing a free 45-day trial if you want to learn how to grow an online course with coaching with me. And if you're on my Instagram or Facebook, you've probably seen that link. If you want directly, just send me an email. Just to end the podcast on this day. I know it was kind of all over the place, but hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, comment below, and please rate this podcast wherever you're listening to it on. Please, rate it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google. If you're on YouTube, please give me a like, comment below, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.